Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Games in Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicegames.net. Want to support the show? Check out our Patreon. $5 and above gets you access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. Check out all the tiers and benefits to help improve your Heroclix skill at patreon.com/ClixedOff. Now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, and Alex Coos.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everybody know if you enjoy what you're listening to today, check us out at patreon.com/ClixedOff. $1 and above is kind of a tip jar for us. $5 and above gets entered into our Discord server for Heroclix strategy and tactics discussion. And joining me today is Jason. Really loves Beetlejuice and Tri-Sentinels and one-shots and all kinds of stuff. Alvey.
Just love Heroclix in general.
You do. That's why you've done a podcast for quite literally over a decade.
Very true.
You are going to be 48 this year? 47. So quite literally for 20% of your life you've done a podcast about Heroclix. And you've played it even longer.
I will have this will be let's see. Started playing in 2007, so
19 years this year.
19 years playing this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
in about 6 months. Yeah.
That factors into some of my thoughts I have for you in a little while. Also joining me today is Alex, the Juice is Loose Coos.
Beetlejuice.
And our special guest tonight is Anthony, the fastest man in Heroclix, Barnstable.
Who is not slowed down even if I don't have free actions.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Hypersonic speed doesn't care about free actions.
So, Anthony, we wanted to go ahead and send you a personal thank you on the air for being the first person to subscribe to our Legacy THANOS tier on Patreon, which in this case grants you one podcast guest host a month, which we're using this month or using today. So, thank you for that. Thank you for being on.
Hashtag first. I was faster than everyone else to do it.
Yeah,
it is my pleasure. Thank you,
Alex. You missed the golf clap. You're supposed to have
my
that.
bad.
You're supposed to have that. And
We
then
might, we might have to rethink the tiers if we start getting 5 or 6 people.
If we get 5 or 6,
Here.
yeah. If we get 5 or 6 people doing it, I might look at retiring.
So yeah, hey, everybody else, join in. Follow my lead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hop in. You know what, Anthony? We want to talk a little bit tonight about our state's experiences, what we enjoyed at our states, and kind of factoring in the results of those states and what we think we'll see in a Strange Tales Modern coming up here real soon. So Anthony, I kind of want you to go first. You're the first person we've had in the podcast that's competed in a Silver Age states, and I know we worked pretty well on a Wakanda Hulkbuster, and I gave you some input on it, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you got quite a bit of other input from other folks as well. Probably much better at the game than myself.
I mostly asked, like, you, PJ, and Lucas were kind of the big three. I asked for advice and team building thoughts and strategy. So definitely your advice helped quite a bit. I trust Dan Powell very regularly as a source of strategy and coaching help. if anybody else was thinking about somebody to look to. And I think there's a great Patreon tier where you could even get help from him pretty regularly.
It is. There is. Thank you for the advertisement there, Anthony.
You're welcome. But I started,
tell us what you played. Tell us where you played. What you played and how you did with it.
So I played in Wisconsin, Rock States. It was held in Kenosha, Wisconsin at Coliseum Games. It was a 400-point Silver Age event. It was just the one that conveniently worked the best into my schedule where I'd be able to play. And I played Wakanda Hulkbuster at 125 points because I really wanted to use his special power on his damage. And then I paired him with the new spot that had Wakanda Hulkbuster. I put Avatar of Animal Man on him to get Dolphin and to get to start off Leap Climb for web swinging, and then switch over to Shape Change for additional defensive purposes for him. And then I paired him with the new spot with Godkiller Sword to get through Super Senses. And then the old spot that I gave the Hell Cycle to, and I routinely picked the Hypersonic Speed Click for that one every single game. And the +1 speed also came in handy a lot. And then from there, I rounded out the team with a lot of support. I had Jennifer Kale at her low point dial with the Ring of Telekinesis. And would kind of utilize taking a terrain marker right by somebody that I wanted to perplex their combat values, whether it was Wakanda Hulkbuster's defense or a spot attack value. And then I also had Cadmus Lab Scientist with a Sinestro Core ring that would put out on turn 1 a yellow bat. I played the Bystander Bat, so that way then between the yellow bat and the black bat I could block off lines of fire. And then I had Phoenix Pog, however you pronounce it, for some extra great barrier and leadership. Copycat, who could copy so many wonderful powers from everybody else. A PJ Lucas Scott Pog to give some protected pulse wave and some additional empower, and then Marvella for some barrier and some empower. And the Cadmus Labs also helped out with some empower, and he could give out Battle Fury, so that way I could get through a shape change with one of my 2 spots. And then for terrain markers, I had the upper body that Wakanda Hulkbuster would go hold for extra added protection from attacks, and a nice big chunk of blocking, and then a square of water terrain that Wakanda Hulkbuster could sit in, so his Dolphin could help keep him safe from things far away.
So a couple questions.
And
as far as the team build goes, talk to me about the bats and how they were instrumental or non-instrumental in some of your defensive plays.
So ultimately, they ended up not really coming in as much handy as I wanted them to, because, let's see. Round 1, I played against a Mystery Inc. theme team that was very fun and kooky, but really that one spot just kind of slaughtered the whole team before they ever crossed the map. So I never had to worry about defenses. I heard he went on to have several other rounds that went a lot better for him, and were a lot more involved in the games, that his team was relatively competitive. I just had a build that really kind of shut him down hard. And then round 2, I played against Matthew Liner, who had a very powerful Phoenix Force Thor that could just come across the map and deal a bunch of damage without needing to really roll. So he wasn't caring too much about lines of fire being limited on that one. Then I played against Ryan Redman, and the bats kind of slowed him down with his offense a little bit, but then he just ultimately sent in Cable to Pulse Wave, and even with the PJ Lucas Scott and the bats, Cable's Pulse Wave just doesn't care. So they, I guess, slowed him down a little, but ultimately didn't stop him that much. Then I played against a Genesis APOC Brute squad, which the bats came in a lot of handy of really... the spots were kind of slow to deal some damage. He did end up getting across the map. It turned into a slugfest in my starting area, and the bats really messed up a lot of his ability to attack key pieces he wanted to target. So they came in a lot of handy in that one match. And then the final one was against a Phoenix Wolverine, who really just came up and based my pieces and just planned on punching everybody. And the bats just acted as additional benefits to his shape change rolls, so they weren't the most helpful there.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that Phoenix Wolverine's really good.
He was definitely fun to play against. I did have a good time against him.
Yeah, Phoenix Wolverine's one of those really interesting pieces that I'm glad his rules conundrums got worked out during his time in Modern. It's always interesting when they print pieces like Phoenix Wolverine that make us think about the rules. And I think the big difference here is increases the result of the D6 versus like the finalized roll. They're like, and Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, or where I'm speaking wrong. I know I'm speaking wrong, but the increase of the result, is slightly different than the roll of D6s. There's two distinct paths that can take, and I think Phoenix Wolverine really helped define that for us during his course in Modern.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that I think sometimes the designs that they're doing kind of really, push their rules team to really have to think through how to handle these and address the questions that are coming up. And two, kind of really force the players to stay aware of the rules and understand how the game actually works on kind of a more technical level than a lot of people do on that surface level.
Yeah, which I think is good. Because over the years, there's been things that even pieces that have gone into silver that we realized just didn't work a certain way in Modern, and we're like, well, shit, this could have just been way better if we realized how they worked. And like most of the time, it comes down to we just didn't read the card. Things like Collector probably stands out as a not so savory example of that, but gosh, I'm thinking, the Captain America just last year, the Captain America chase with his Colosseum, he caught an errata for it. We didn't realize.
Oh yeah, so that way he couldn't just take like 17 close actions as free.
Yeah, we didn't even we went all through Nationals as a Heroclix community and didn't realize that he could just take all of those actions as free because of how he was worded. Which I say is a props to the meta community in general, that we actually do play for fun and fairsies, because we don't break everything.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, as you look through your run through at Wisconsin State, is there anything that you think you would have changed or approached differently, given your hindsight being kind of 20/20 there?
I'm not really sure what I could have changed up in the Matthew Liner matchup. That one was a real roller coaster of a game where like we rolled for initiative and then he like reached out his hand to shake of like, yeah, we both know exactly how this game is going from here. He expected he lost at that moment. And then like I set up my first turn because I was player 1 and he set up his first turn as player 2. I go in for like my alpha strike and I get Kevin once, I whiff on Dark Phoenix, and it's like, oh, wow, that was a big swing. Now he has a real chance to come back here. He sends Dark Phoenix over. He crit misses with Dark Phoenix, and it's like, oh, wow, that was a big swing. Never mind, we're right back to where we thought we were. And then he sends the Phoenix Thor over and ends up crit hitting with him to get some KOs that were just I was planning on evading out of, and that was just like, okay, well, we're just all over the place here, where it's just roller coaster after roller coaster. So that one, I don't really know what I could have done too differently. I think there was some really crazy moments in that one that really played a big role in that. And then against Ryan Redman, oh my God, his Dark Phoenix rolled like 6 or 7 consecutive impervious rolls. I guess like the only thing I maybe could have done differently is just not attack characters with impervious that game. That was wild.
I feel that. So I think maybe the other big question that I have for you on your run here, I mean, obviously you judge a lot, all of the major events. How did it feel to play at a high level, and is there and I'll go ahead and give you the preface that I know it's not likely to affect your want to judge, but is there any inkling or tickle or force that you're like, man, playing is really fun. I kind of miss that at a high level.
Yeah, that's fair. I started playing Heroclix in 2005. The year I started playing, I started going to conventions to play at a high level immediately. The year I started playing, I love playing Heroclix. It is my most favorite game I have ever played, and playing it at a high level is super fun and enjoyable to me, and I will never deny that for a second. But around 2014, I got the offer to like start judging events, and I honestly thought I would hate it and it was going to be a horrible experience and I was going to regret not playing. But I just fell in love with judging so much and it was so much fun. And I just kind of noticed like, wow, the stars are kind of aligning where I think I absolutely can make it to this event. I am going to try and make sure I get to that event and I get a chance to play, because I never get a chance to play with how often I get offered to judge. And this is still my favorite game in the world to play, and I love playing it at a high level. I'm going to go play it if I can. And I had a great time doing it. I was really inspired by, if you've ever read Nate White's Facebook posts, where he will post like the update round by round, how he's doing, to be like, I'm going to have extra fun with it as a player at a high level this week. I'm going to go make a Facebook post to like each round by round as I'm playing, how I'm doing, how much fun I'm having, who I'm playing against, like what I need to do to keep on tracking to make top cut or anything like that. And I remembered back when I was a player, I would very unreliably make top cut. I was not the strongest competitive player, but I still loved doing it. I still had a super fun time this time, and I had such a blast getting out to play. And if I could have more opportunities to be a player at high-level events, I absolutely would. I would just never trade judging at a high-level event for playing at a high-level event, even once, because it's so much more fun to judge, even though I love playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I think so when it comes to, I judged our states, and I think I'm the opposite of you on that.
Okay.
I only judged the states in Kentucky so we could have one. Judging at a high level event, takes. I'm trying to think of the right words to say here. It takes a certain desire to deal with personalities, to understand the rules, and it actually ties into one of the questions that I have here today, that I want to go ahead and answer and talk about a little bit. I think this is a good segue to talk about that. For Ben Gronheit asked, Dan, your last episode meant that you had some difficult judge questions at Iraq State tournaments. Do you feel the win and the comprehensives at rules as resources were adequate? How would you approve them if you could? And I didn't go into this last episode, but in general, yeah, I did run into round one. I ran into 3 difficult questions immediately, and they were all surrounding Galactus. And so it takes someone that doesn't mind encountering a difficult situation and wanting to overcome it, I think. But at the end of the day, I'd much rather play than judge. I know I have all of the fortitude to judge. I certainly don't have the rules expertise that you do, Anthony, but I think it takes a certain amount of fortitude to want to judge. And maybe the question that I have as I talk about the Galactus thing is, tell us some of the things that you like in the past few years. We've had some difficult, I think, rules questions the past probably 3 years. Tell the folks, what is exciting for you to judge? What makes it exciting for you to judge these big events?
Yeah, so there are definitely a couple parts to that. I feel like the first one is Alex will hear, and he will relate to it really well and agree with me that one of the parts I find to be fun is the planning and the prep work of what are all of the scenarios I can expect to encounter, and what can I do to minimize any of those from being a problem and make things run as smooth as possible, because I want to make it the best experience I can for all the players, because I know as a player I wanted it to be a positive experience. And I think that's definitely one he could relate to, but that's one that I really enjoy all of the prep work I get to put into a tournament.
Oh yeah, it's a blast. It just adds a little bit to tournaments, being able to help plan it or help run it to make sure everyone has a good time. Some people just like hosting or helping people in that manner. It brings a little joy out of certain people. Yeah.
And the second one is in the event when the judge questions are coming up. I really enjoy getting to hear every question that happens, because some of them are that was so blatantly obvious, how was this even a question? But then at the same time, how was it a question? What was phrased in such a way that somebody could read that and come up with a question and then try and imagine, because we all think so differently and our brains work so differently, understanding what should have been worded differently to prevent this question that I felt was easy. And then also the questions that are hard, wow, what does need to be changed with the language to make that more clear? Or if I wanted to explain this really complicated question, what are even the right words that are going to make it make the most sense for the person who's asking me this question? It's a fun puzzle to solve and problem to solve, especially for the forward thinking of how to make it better for the future and for everybody after this event. But then also sometimes the questions that are just oh my God, I have no idea what the answer is to this. I love this question. That really has my gears turning and has me thinking. Or you used the example of the Colosseum cap. If somebody calls me over and it's hey, could I do this different close is free? And yeah, sure, that question never came up, but if that did, that would have been oh my God, I never even thought about about playing this figure in that way. That's so cool that you came up with an entirely different way to approach a figure than anyone else has ever done. And getting to see that through the lens of the questions coming up is really interesting.
Yeah, so, the point, and I think what is interesting there for me out of all of that, that's a fantastic answer. I think especially in later rounds, and I think I don't remember the specific example from Worlds this year, but playing at a high level in this game requires so many decisions to be made at any given time and calculations to be made at any given time. I think in Top Cut at some point, I don't remember if it was 32, 16, 8, 4, whatever, I asked some basic ass question that, like, I would have known. Or, like, as a judge, I'd have been like, why is Daniel Powell asking that question? That's, like, day one stuff. And, this game is so mentally taxing when it comes to the number of decisions and calculations and, different scenarios that things can play out that sometimes you just forget. That you just forget how it works. And obviously, like, 20 minutes after the game, you're like, well, sure, yeah, I know that. I know you can running shot pulse wave. But, like, in the middle of a game, you're like, can I running shot pulse wave? And that's
not with Beetlejuice, but
yeah.
And I think that's a great question for people, or a great point for people to be aware of and to remember that, like, when you're watching the stream of the finals match or the top 4 match or the top 8 match, these are people that have been playing. They're on, like, round 9. They're mentally exhausted and mentally drained, and they're fighting and powering through it, and their adrenaline is pumping. And sometimes, yeah, those moments of forgetfulness happen, and it doesn't mean anybody is trying to be malicious by asking, can I running shot pulse wave? It's just in the moment you forget even simple things.
Yeah. It's just when yeah.
I mean, I was telling the guys yesterday that I completely forgot in my finals match that when you take out one of Spirit of Vengeance's pilots, it deals him 1 damage. I just forgot that during the whole match. So I was just trying to get his pilots off the board. I wasn't even thinking about, oh yeah, that'll eventually kill SOV if I keep doing that. Like,
yeah.
If I take him out.
And if he takes a Mystics damage on one of his pilots, it'll cause him to take a damage. So that's a great segue, Alex. Let's. So I want to talk about my question. So let's switch to Kentucky States for a little bit. We didn't talk about that in the last episode, right? Your experience of winning it all. So, my experience judging Kentucky States was interesting. So if you're listening right now and you're at a point where you can safely pull up HC units, pull up Galactus on HC units. The short answer here is I caused Clay a day worth of work on programming HC units. We had 3 main force Galacti at Kentucky States, and I will admit I hadn't read his card in 6 months, maybe even longer. I was like, my initial write-off as a player was, I'm never going to play this guy because he kind of sucks. I thought at the time, 6 months ago, World's prep time. But he obviously doesn't suck. Lucas Landis played him at Worlds and has a well-documented video over on Heroclix HQ about him. And I think really kind of planted the seed that blossomed into the 3 main force Galacti that I had to judge. So I think the main thing here is, if you look at his elemental converter dial, that's the main thing. You may only add the elemental converter to your force if Galactus is on your starting force or your sideline. I think one of the ways we broke HC units was including him on the starting force. That meant that you could include other things on your sideline. Because the other sentence reads, if adding it when Galactus is on your sideline, he must be the only game element on your sideline, and you can't assign equipment to your characters. So I think adding the converter broke some of HC units that away programmatically. And then the second thing to him was they were adding stuff to him. They were putting Animal Mans on him. Stephen Clark Jr. put Bast on him, I think. Jason, did you play him? Was it Bast? Yeah. So there were things. There were things attached to Galactus too, which I think subtly broke the programming of the 001B dial. So having not read, that was probably
the original question came up because of the Herald dial.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the Herald dial.
Because the guy asked the question, that's where it started.
Yeah, so I think, Ben, the main thing was immediately turn one. All these people asked their questions, and everybody had played Galactus differently, and had all asked different questions. I had to call Clay Wood during round one of Kentucky States, and been like, "Hey, can you look at these Galactus dials, Galactus builds? I think they're right." But the site doesn't have them correct. So Galactus arrives caused a question. So at the beginning of your turn, this is on the Herald dial, at the beginning of your turn you may roll a d6 once per game if the result is higher than or equal to the number on the Herald dial. Blah blah blah. If Galactus is on your sideline, generate Galactus. Otherwise, heal Galactus 6 clicks. What wasn't clear
first
there?
Round, I sat down.
Yeah, Jason, go ahead.
And my opponent said he was going to heal 6 clicks. Yeah, I played against his first round, and my opponent said, I sit down. I was like, okay, first thing is I'm going to roll this d6, and I'm just going to heal 6 clicks at the beginning of my first turn of the game. I'm like, no, you're not. There's no way that's how you do that.
Yeah, so I think
he immediately healed 6 clicks, and there's like, no.
Yeah, so what I had to explain to the opponent was, Jason's opponent is that there are numbers on the Herald dial that is referenced to. But what is, I think, interesting. But what is, they started click 7. But what is interesting there, and what caused this player's confusion, is that there are also click numbers on the dial. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 through 12 on the Herald dial itself that could be confused as the Herald dial numbers. But I think what made it clear there was it says the dial, which is typically indicative of the 4 slots on the dial.
Well, I know it's also kind of like to Anthony's point earlier of like how you read cards, right? The otherwise heal Galactus 6 clicks is referencing if you hit the number, if your roll is greater than the number on the Herald dial, and if you choose not to generate Galactus, right? Or is it if you roll the dice, then you don't like. If Galactus on your sideline, generate Galactus from your sideline anywhere on the map on his purple starting line. It's if you don't hit the roll, right?
So you have to hit the roll, and you don't generate Galactus.
Right, but where's that otherwise heal Galactus 6 clicks? I think
and so somebody thought, otherwise, if you fail the roll, then heal Galactus 6 clicks. I see where I never even thought about misunderstanding it that way.
Yes. Yeah, because you could technically make that roll at any point, right? Like.
Yeah. So Anthony, that's I think that's a great way to state it. and I'm going to try to write that down and remember that. I never even thought that you could misunderstand it that way. So, you know,
well,
and then I went, and then after that, I went through the other two Galactus builds, and the Elemental Converter and the Herald Dials were not on their builds correctly. Not their fault. So it was a confusion of the questions, a way the unit was programmed in HC units, and that was the difficult questions that I ran into in round one, the first 30 to 45 seconds of the round.
Let me ask you, what was the reasoning for that it technically doesn't work?
What doesn't work?
That you couldn't try to make, because it's making
you can make the roll. It's
right,
but the numbers in the speed slot of the dial
aren't there.
Right. So I guess my question is the otherwise, when does the otherwise activate?
So if the result is greater than the number to the number on the Herald dial, if Galactus is on your sideline, you can generate him. They weren't playing Galactus on the sideline. Therefore, the otherwise comes into play.
Yeah, if he's already on the map, then yeah.
And he can heal past this.
That's one of those instances where I could see why the person thought that, and they probably should just rewrite the whole power, to be honest.
Well, the fact that you're going to sit there and play an 80-point character and then think you get to automatically heal him to the top of his dial previous to that should tell you that you're probably incorrect.
Well,
Jason, it would be wild if they ever printed like a 20-point character that's a legacy of a Colossal and had some sort of way that on turn one of the game you could just heal him up to some sort of 260-point line. Like, anyone who would expect that's even possible, that would be ridiculous.
It specifically explains out a convoluted way to do so on his card.
I think it's...
Well, so I think the argument I'm glad he didn't use, that I would have had to explain away, was, well, there is no number on there. It's greater than the number that's on there, which is nothing. It's greater than nothing. I'm really glad he didn't use that argument, that I had to just be like,
well, nothing's on value. So
they should have not done they should have basically stated in that sentence, if Galactus is not on your starting line. Otherwise, if Galactus if Galactus is not on your sideline, heal Galactus 6 clicks, and he may heal past his starting line. Because of the way otherwise is put there in a separate sentence at the end of the whole thing, I could see someone arguing, well, no, the otherwise is referenced to this sentence, or to this sentence, or to this sentence. Like, it's just worded poorly. Like, you're right, Jason, it makes no sense it would be able to do it that way, but it shouldn't have been written in a way that it could be...
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have been able to read that way. They should have added a few more words to say, hey, if you're playing them on main force, well, obviously you can't bring them in, so just heal them 6 clicks. I mean...
Yeah. No, I agree.
Starro, you have to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you go to the last
support,
and you go to the last click of that dial. But this guy, I just miss one. I'll just miss this. I'll just make this roll, and I'll automatically turn into twice as the other dial of this character. No, that's just not.
Oh man. There's only Aaron Morgan has played Starro so far, I think. But yeah, so that was the most interesting part of Kentucky States for me, was navigating the main force Galacti.
Yeah, you were busy. You were busy at Kentucky States.
Oh my gosh, yes, I. Yeah, you know what? Some events that I've judged over the years, right? Like I just kind of get to sit there. I do a good amount of active judging throughout Swiss rounds. And, I obviously active judge per the rock rules in Top Cut. Yeah, there was a ton of other just like, I would say that base level question that, why are you asking me this? I think the other question that I got pretty regularly was, can you generate barrier on this? Can you generate barrier here? Can I place a terrain marker here? The rule of not being able to... Yeah.
That was the other one I presented to you, was special terrain and icy lake and terrain markers.
Yes. Yeah, and
That's the
can't.
one you had to pull. Yep.
I could have looked at the comp, but I asked somebody who I knew would have the comp available.
Well, I think I looked up the comp anyway, and I don't know if they technically declare that terrain as special terrain or something. Like, it wasn't as clear as it used to be.
Yeah, the orange squares, you can't place terrain there at game setup.
Yeah. And
so that was fairly clear. So yeah, for your team, tell us a little bit about your team, Alex, and what you played.
So I played Beetlejuice. If there's a groan button, we can hit that. I played it mostly because, I
like this one.
I played it because Strange Tales wasn't legal. That's really what it boils down to. I was going to play my Killiseum cap with some Tri-Sentinels and all that, but when Strange Tales was gone, I was like, well, my Worlds team that I had altered, I couldn't find a good combo without the Tri-Sentinels. So I started looking, I'm like, okay, well, there's not a lot of teams playing Beetlejuice main force for some reason. What's the best version I could build, and is it good enough? So I built Beetlejuice. I saw some teams that had 2 Pegasus Captain Americas. So I was like, that's cool. I like that. So I built the team with Beetlejuice, 2 Captain Americas, Pegasus Captain Americas, and Zala, because Zala shares a keyword with Pegasus Cap. Because when I looked at those Pegasus Cap teams that have been played, they were playing like a Hal Jordan or something to protect the defend one from Lantern Legacy and a few other things. And my thought was, how can you activate both Pegasus Caps in one turn? To be able to hit with Zala and both caps. And so Zala was the best method, was send her out there because she can hypersonic. I wanted hypersonic pieces since nobody can use free actions with Beetlejuice. So basically she has the God Killer Sword, or whatever it's called. Yeah, God Killer Sword.
Yep.
And then my Pegasus Cap, one has Mjolnir, the other one has Destroyer Armor, and then I have Chair Panther and Prodegaton. And so the move is just Degs TK Zala out. She hypersonics out. Beetlejuice might. Sometimes I had Beetlejuice carry Degaton up to give a prop, because she does have to hit to allow, bring somebody over. But she gets through pretty much everything. With the God Killer Sword, she'll get through Shape Change, Super Senses, Mastermind. I mean, you name it. It's really just can she roll well enough to hit? If she hits, then Captain America comes over, and we all know Pegasus Cap. Basically, when he targets a single character with an attack, they can't use defensive powers. And so it's just go to town and just eat through things. I really enjoy, even if I wasn't playing Beetlejuice at this point, I actually really like the Zala 2 Captain America part. Just not having to worry about defensive powers is nuts. And then the fact that we now have the head terrain from Sentinels, which could help get rid of Shape Change, which Pegasus Cap doesn't like. It's just, you don't get free actions and you don't get your defensive powers, basically. And so it was a more aggressive version of the team than I had anticipated, and it worked really well. The added benefit of Zala is that she also doesn't have any special powers, which means she is not stopped by Halt Mutant. So she can zip away, hypersonic, get someone away, and place your Captain America or something a little bit further away. So team worked pretty well. I mean, I ended up winning Kentucky State's with it. By the time anyone's hearing this, I'll either be in the middle of playing Georgia State's with it or doing something else. You know, I've already played.
It'll probably be after.
Key piece for the team, I will say.
It'll probably be after Alex.
Yeah, the last key piece of the team is I have Heimdall's sight, which is really good for Captain America because he'll hypersonic and he has a range of 8 for his one attack because he has that Guardian keyword. So it's pretty nice because he's got an 8 movement. So I guarantee, even if Zala doesn't hit, I've got one Captain America that I know can at least hit someone, as long as I'm not, in an underground map. So
which is nuts.
It was a very, very fun team.
Which we've seen Heimdall's sight throughout all of the past year, because it's a smash and destroy one. A minimum range of 8 in our short range, our 16 square maps days are so fun.
The thing I messed up with on the team is I have Fortify and Heimdall's sight as one shots, and then obviously Animal Man's on Beetlejuice. But then I didn't really think about the rest of my sideline. Like I had Mimic and Reverse Flash, and I never used them. But I didn't have Ares, and so I have the capabilities of doing an Ares bomb of sorts. Like Zala could do it because she has blades, or Beetlejuice could if he chooses blades. So I didn't really have another threat on my sideline. So Chair Panther would just take away Fortify Heimdall's sight and not think about anything else. But I think Ares will at least make them think about it, because no one wants an Ares bomb coming their way. So I'm excited to see how the team does this week, because I would ultimately like Beetlejuice to be banned. So my thought process has always been they're not going to ban it if he's not winning. Like if the stats don't support him being banned, they're not going to ban him.
Like you say that, but I think main force Beetlejuice, like 100 points that you have to pay a full third of your build, is such a huge investment. And he is not an attacker. He is, I think, a pretty poor attacker. So you're investing a third of your build into basically a utility support piece. And he's not even really supporting your own pieces very well. So you're spending 100 points on utility to mostly just disrupt your opponent and not really offer anything else to your own force. That feels like a perfectly fair and valid cost.
It would be better if Animal Man didn't exist. I think that's the caveat, because you're paying 10 more points. Beetlejuice's issue is that he doesn't have range, but he has no move and attack besides sidestep. But as soon as you give him hypersonic, because he ignores characters anyway, and he destroys blocking for movement purposes, he now can hypersonic around, and he is a threat physically, because he also, if he deals penetrating to opposing characters that are lower point values than himself. So he's a 12 for 3. Like you can hypersonic. Like I would frequently just choose hypersonic first turn, and then if need be, I can TK out, hypersonic up, punch, and then free action choose invincible, because I'd be attacking my second turn. Choose invincible on the second turn, and just sit there if need be. Like he is an offensive. Like he's 100 points of other stuff, but he can be a threat. And Animal Man is what allows that.
So
Without Animal Man,
so is the problem more Animal Man as a 10-point sideline piece?
Yeah, that's
because I feel like I see pretty much every team playing Animal Man, and what Animal Man enables is so much more than what the 100-point piece that without Animal Man really isn't an attacker and isn't a support piece and isn't really doing too much to help your force out.
Yeah, can we and Jason, I want to hear from you here. So can you do an audio check for me to make sure that you haven't been lost?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. So, I think
I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, I think it brings up a valid point. Is that folks are playing 100-point Beetlejuice on their main force just to take Animal Man out of the picture? Because if you look at like Spot or some of these other crazy...
You're simplifying it by just saying it's Animal Man and only Animal Man.
I think that's a big driver, though, Jason. I think I might be overestimating.
We can look at the other pieces they're picking out.
I think I might be overestimating it. I think you might be underestimating it. But you're looking at like all these pieces that don't have move and attack. You're giving them hypersonic. You're giving them charge. You know, you're giving them leap climb to roll out instantly, right? Web swinging, pow, they're out. Is it so wrong to spend a third of your build to counter that?
I'm not playing Beetlejuice to get rid of Animal Man specifically, but
so what are the
big things that got shut down by Beetlejuice when you played him?
Outwit.
So me and Alex played in top eight, right?
Yeah, and
I basically had to sit in a corner and watch Alex play Heroclix because Beetlejuice was on the board.
I mean, to be fair, you did take out quite a few of my pieces. I mean, you're right.
That's all.
At the same time,
I think quite a few pieces. I took out one, and it took me the entire game to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't saying like Beetlejuice is there to take out Animal Man.
I was
saying
saying focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to Beetlejuice.
Are you
familiar with the concept of a negative play experience? Are you familiar with the concept?
Me personally, I have a more negative experience against Animal Man than I do against Beetlejuice, but I don't mind playing against Beetlejuice.
So Jason,
why is Animal Man more negative?
So Jason, it's the battle. And sorry, Anthony. Here, I just want to talk about.
No, you're fine.
It's the battle of two negative play experiences.
So you're telling me that Animal Man provides a negative play experience?
No, it's not just Animal Man. So here's what is a negative play experience.
Yeah, I know you got a whole spiel for it because you love him now. I get it.
I get it. I do love. I think Beetlejuice is fine.
You change sides. You have bitched and moaned on.
Well, here's what's always, and here's what I've realized the past few months, Jason, and I appreciate your fervor always. I have for a decade.
Okay. I'm done talking about it. Yeah.
No, we're talking about it a little bit.
No.
Here's what's a negative play.
I know what we're doing right here.
I want to talk about the battle of the negative play experiences, and I want to provide both sides. So here's what a negative play experience is for me. While I sit there and watch my opponent go, I'm going to sidestep. I'm going to free action do this. I want to free action attack. I'm going to free action attack again. I'm going to free action move. I'm going to power action this guy, which gives this other guy a free move. And hey, when he free moves, he gets to attack. And hey, I'm going to do all these 38 perplexes. Well, I have to set here. 38's a big number, so I'm going to say more like 3. Okay, do I perplex his attack? Do I perplex his movement? Do I perplex his defense? Okay, I have to decide that 3 times. And now I have to determine all of my movements. Well, guess what? The decision making is way less if you don't have to do all of those 10 to 30 free actions a turn. And it makes for a more streamlined play experience. So, on both sides of it, so Jason, I will give you that it is a negative play experience for the pro Beetlejuice player, and it is a negative play experience for the anti-Beetlejuice player. I fully support you in that it's a negative play experience when you have to play against a Beetlejuice. It is also a negative play experience for me when teams come in and they have 12 characters and they all do something different.
Oh my god. You're going to sit here and tell me that you're having a negative play experience because of a power that's on the PAC that has existed
No, I don't have
the time the game started. You're calling that perplex. Like,
well, so perplex is one of them, but they also have like
this game is built on that kind of stuff. Perplex.
Well,
I mean,
I agree. So
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like for added
running shot
example,
energy explosion.
I feel like for added example about the comment about Jason saying that perplex, a core standard power, is a negative play experience. Perplex fundamentally was such a negative play experience that, number one, they had to invent the rule of 3 to say, actually, Perplex is too strong, we have to dial it in. And then Perplex, after the rule of 3 came out, was still such a negative play experience that they had to say, actually, we have to change Perplex again and say it can't modify damage. It's still fundamentally too strong and too much of a negative play experience as long as it's modifying damage, even with the rule of 3.
I have played this game for almost 19 years. I've done this podcast for over a decade, and you were the first people that have ever told me Perplex caused a negative play experience.
So, but that
I've been playing since 2005, and I absolutely ran the con artist bomb teams.
I get the con artist bomb thing, but then that changed the rule. Like, that changed one of the core rules of the game. Like,
so
that's
Jason,
been in existence since the whole time. I'm not sitting here doing this with you.
Oh my god!
You decided to tag up with him on me against this. I get it.
No,
I know you both love it.
No, Jason. No, this makes for good. This makes for a good show.
You can sit there and complain about that, and you play a character constantly that grabs out 1,000 points of extra free characters.
And you know what? There is only myself and one other person in the entire nation of states that has been successful with that piece.
I don't care.
There is no way that Spirit of Vengeance is on your list, because I have been successful with 2 states with it, and Maddie G played a copycat team of mine and won New Mexico State.
Ricky Pagano won in Illinois with it.
Illinois.
Yeah, he won in Illinois with it.
Jeremy got top 2.
Jeremy got top 2 with it. I almost went with it. I guess he would have won with it if he wasn't being stupid.
Listen, to be fair, I had another turn.
I know, but you gotta admit that was a dunderheaded move that he made.
Oh, it was.
But man, was it? Was it ever? Oh, poor Jeremy.
All right, so let me say as a resident,
affects the game from the time I sit down at my computer on HC unit and decide what team I'm going to build.
I mean, every set review, he affects our set.
I mean, Spirit of Vengeance affects what the game and what team I'm going to build. Every time I look at building a team, every time I think about having to play against him in Modern or Silver, and I think he affects my building way more than Beetlejuice has ever affected my building. Because if I'm not prepared to take out that Spirit of Vengeance, like, why am I even showing up? I'm just going to lose.
But he doesn't just make you sit in a corner because he's on the map across from you.
I mean,
he
doesn't make me sit in a corner. He doesn't make me sit in a corner, but he makes me just basically not take Spirit of Vengeance. When I'm playing against him, if I'm not prepared to take him down, I'm just losing, and I might as well just sit in a corner. I'm gonna do the same either way.
You can say that against every team. Like, you're not prepared to take them down, you're gonna lose. That's just
and that's why I feel that, like, Beetlejuice is no different than every other piece.
He takes an entire set of characters that do things for free, and just because he exists, they can't do.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, Prime Sinestro turns off your Perplex anyways, and if people playing literally only figures with Power Cosmic and Quintessence and Cosmic Energy already say my Outwit does nothing anyways.
Okay, so let me talk about this for a second as the current resident Beetlejuice player. We've had instances of powers like this that had a global effect that were too strong, aka 1776, that needed a nerf. Because that was just too strong. It took away he took away your actions down to 2 or something at the time, because he would negative one your action total.
Something
similar concept, because it was a map wide effect, and you could just provide that negative game effect to your opponent that they had to change them. Beetlejuice on the sideline, no argument really exists to say that is a negative experience You can pay 0 points to bust this guy out for 100 points and completely nerf everything. Sideline Beetlejuice is bad 100%. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. They are arguing 100-point main force Beetlejuice I still think is bad because I think he's too undercosted and he does too much even with at 100 points. Wakanda Hulkbuster is 25 more points, and you only have to deal him 3 damage to get him to click 4, and he loses the whole similar power, but you still get 1 free action out of it.
But Wakanda Hulkbuster says my whole team gets to take free actions, which is a huge upgrade over Beetlejuice, which is what I'm paying the extra 25 points for.
Sure, and then we also have the Green Battery, who does it within range as Wakanda Hulkbuster style.
On very limited clicks.
Sure. I still think Beetlejuice is too strong. I think if they're going to do anything to him, at bare minimum, they need to get rid of the sideline active garbage. He doesn't need to be free on your sideline. I don't care about the dealing unavoidable damage. We have too many characters that could just eat it and they don't care.
Too many being 1?
No, I mean, you could just have a 10-point piece, just eat it, and you give up 10 points. Who cares? You're still getting a 100-point piece out there. Like, the sideline active thing just doesn't need to exist. He doesn't need to be sideline active, period. That would erase a lot of the issues. But it still exists, the whole main force Beetlejuice being an issue. I personally still think he needs to be banned. But there's also other things I think need to be fixed in the game, period. The fact that Chair Black Panther is almost a necessity on every team because of one-shots and everything, I think is also bad for the game.
Alex, you are my best seguer.
But we don't have to go on to that subject.
No, we do, because so here's what I want to talk about next. Missouri State's, Jason might have a little bit to talk about. I do want to transition to that. I won Missouri State's. I played 6 rounds. I scored 1,800 points. None of my games went appreciably past turn 3.
Wow.
That's how my Missouri State's win went. I wiped every game. I think I gave up less than 500 points the whole thing. I didn't face a lot of Chair Panthers. I think Jason was the only one that had a Chair Panther that I had to face. So I went first every game, but the first time we played, Jason, because what was interesting, even having a non-theme team, was if I went second, I just had obstinate maps on my list, and I still do, or I still will. I had Alien Aquarium, Major Brock's Bunker, and Rivals Respawn. So if they let me go second, they were going to be stuck on some map that was, I don't know, shitty for them, right? Hard to navigate. Provided me benefits for my pilots, aka Rivals Respawn. Hard to navigate Major Brock's Bunker, Alien Aquarium. So there was a couple games they just let me go first to just not have to deal with the map. And they don't have a Black Panther, so if I go first, my team is built in such a way where I just go try to KO my own figure. I try to give my opponent 135 points as quickly as possible.
That's very nice of you.
So you have 500 points of figures out on the board for nothing.
It's
but his opponent is now actively winning.
Well,
at the moment,
he gets all those characters out to start hammering things and shooting them for 5.
When he says that, he's not actually KOing his figure, by the way. He's not giving you points.
I'm trying to KO it as quickly as possible.
No, you're not. You're trying to get it as far just to the bottom as you can without KOing it. you're not trying to KO it.
Well, sometimes, I would say...
Let's be honest about what we're doing.
I did roll
I love how you use all your corporate experience to come up with all this bullshit that you say. I love it.
I tell you what, my corporate counterparts on LinkedIn would be very excited about some of my wording. So there was one time during Missouri State, I rolled a 6 on Soul Siphon, and I couldn't deal the 3 damage to the three unavoidable damage to Spirit of Vengeance because it would have KO'd him, and I couldn't have called out pilots, so I had to deal it to Loki. And I was like, well, shit, I never expected that to happen. Because he was already down dial a little bit. I mean, it is what it is. Like, playing Spirit of Vengeance is so counterintuitive to how you normally play a Heroclix figure that, a lot of folks just can't deal with it. And it's just too much to do for them. I talked to one of our buddies from up in Indy, and he says, Dan, I watched all of your streams that you put out there. I've watched them more than once. I took notes. I wrote down what you did. I wrote down what you told me to do. And he says, I'm afraid that I'll just fuck it up. And he's like, I just can't play it because I'm afraid I'll fuck it up. I'm like, okay, well, it's just not that much. It's not that much to do wrong. You just go do the thing. So Missouri State's was me just going and doing the thing for 6 rounds straight.
You have a lot of reps in the thing that he doesn't have, so I can see why he feels that way.
Yeah,
and it's not an easy team to pilot.
I mean, you say that, but it's probably one of the most easiest teams I've ever piloted. I don't know.
I mean, that says something about your teams and how skilled you are as a pilot.
I will say this, Anthony, as I know you've known Adam Friedman for a long time. 2025 and now the start of 2026 has just been... I have not had the knack for team building or the time for team building. The latter half of 2025 was me just playing teams that Adam told me to play. The first half of 2025, I played teams that Trent Morello built. So my team building is a little bit lacking. But I just in my first Strange Tales team is a version of a team that Adam just told me to play.
It's just your team. Just add a bunch of Sentinels to it.
Yes. Oh, from 2006 until 2014, when I was playing competitively, minus the first year before I figured out I could do this, I just asked Adam, build me a team. I'm going to learn the team you tell me, and I'm going to play that, because I trust your team building way more than I trust mine.
Yeah. So, Jason, I'll give you a moment to talk a little bit about your experience at Missouri State's. And
you didn't play Cable, you played something else, right?
And do we mention the thing? Jason, are you there?
Did we lose Jason?
We lost Jason, didn't we? We lost Jason. He'll be back.
Okay.
Maybe he got he got so mad at your guys' Beetlejuice talk.
Is Jason back?
Yeah, not yet. He's had audio issues. He's had audio issues for like 3 months now. Are you there?
Yeah, we don't know what it is.
Better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Missouri State's? Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you tell us about your experience at Missouri State's?
Yeah, I played something I thought was fun. Or that I hadn't played before.
What was it?
Prime Swamp Thing. In Spot.
Ooh. That's spicy.
I mean, I guess. It was fun to play. I wanted to play them. But I couldn't figure out what I wanted to play. I wanted to play stuff I hadn't played. I played Infinite in Indiana, and I played Cable in Kentucky. Cable and Space Batman. and I wanted to play some other figures. And I thought, I might play Galactus, and I might play Abomination, and I don't know what I wanted to play. And I've had Swamp Thing off and on. I was like, I'm finally just going to play this thing, just to say I played it. Because he might be fun to play. I like the other Swamp Thing, the non-prime one better. But anyway, I've played him before. So I wanted to play Spot and Swamp Thing. And it has a lot going on. And I hadn't practiced it and never played it before. But it was fun. And the first time me and Daniel played, I screwed up. And his maps messed me up. And I made a big screw up. And second time, he got to go first. And I was no competition for him whatsoever. But they're really fun.
And
They're fun to play.
As a callback to Dan's point about different people's negative play experience, I've watched so many people play against Spot and listen to them talk about how negative of a play experience playing against Spot was. I had a lot of fun playing Spot. None of my opponents brought that up in there as something they said during their matches against me, but I've definitely seen some people think he's a very negative play experience to play against, and other people sit here and say he's super fun. And I think he's a high skill requirement piece, so I thought that made him fun to play with.
He is an interesting things you can do with him, and I can definitely see why people don't like playing against him. But he's also easy to grew up playing. If you need to really know what he does and how he works.
Yeah.
But he's an interesting piece. He's a very interesting piece.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't play him again. But I enjoyed playing the combo, so it was fun.
Yeah, he is definitely borderline on my personal Q1 watch list.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's good enough, but he's almost overperforming. But
I guess he's been playing. Everybody's been playing him with Abomination.
Yeah,
I don't know if they've even won one with that. If that team's even won any, I don't think it has.
It's hard to see because there's been a decent amount of spots, but they haven't been performing well because I think a decent amount of them are running into Beetlejuices. So,
oh yeah, that definitely just see that he doesn't do anything against Beetlejuice. He just kind of sits there.
Yeah, he has to be carried up or TK'd, and he can still flurry normally, but he's still somewhat of a threat, but he doesn't do the cool stuff.
He's definitely diminished, way down. But
yeah, so Jason, I just the only thing I want you to consider is both sides of the coin, right? Because if Spot doesn't face a Beetlejuice, right?
I get what you're saying.
So how many times
not
does
just Spot that it affects though?
So Spot, but if Spot has all of his free action, he gets to a flurry twice in a turn.
Yeah, he could potentially.
He could, right?
Oh, so I flurried twice every turn when I played Spot. There was not a single turn he didn't flurry twice.
But it's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed, right? There's actioning and leadership.
There are bad things like him. He's one of the more damage. He's one of the more egregious characters that exist right now.
Yeah, so I get that, right? And I don't want to convince you. I'm not going to convince you.
You're not convincing me of anything.
But I just want you to consider what happens if you get flurried for 6 damage each attack 4 times in 4 attacks in a turn on one 55-point piece? Is he 55 or 50?
He's 55.
Yeah, so how does that feel versus being able to say, I play my $15 Iconics piece that just doesn't allow that to happen and allows me to navigate and try to do a little bit better in a game?
So you're arguing, Daniel, this is a necessary evil thing, and I'm saying both don't need to exist.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Alex. And so here's what I want to talk about in the necessary evil category. So circuit meta for Rock State Provincials, and this is our last segment for tonight as we wrap around here. How do we think that the current Rock States meta affects the Strange Tales meta? Number one,
we just have a quick moment to talk about CCO2 at the end?
Yeah, so Strange Tales meta, and we'll include the Strange Tales meta includes CCO. There's 2 events.
Okay.
There's 2 major events coming up that will have Strange Tales featured as their main event, right? Like they're it highlights the set. That's the Champion Clix Open in Florida, and the Adepticon events that DGen Clix is running.
Which are not sponsored by WizKids. WizKids is doing nothing with the DGen Clix Adepticon. That
Correct.
is just them on their own, as a reminder to people.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. WizKids is partnered with the CCO in Florida. I would say, Anthony, we aren't talking about Silver Pulp today at all. We will.
That's fair.
But we don't have
save that for next time.
Yeah, we don't have a ban list or a format details, so conjecture isn't really useful at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we are hosting a CCO locally here, and Alex's local venue is that correct, Alex? You're hosting a CCO too?
Yep.
Yeah, so we are in full support of the Silver Pulp format. We just need some more details before we can make it a podcast segment to be useful for the community.
Yeah, it seems like the community generally prefers that it not be called Silver Pulp. That was considered to be confusing to people, and they prefer that it is called Superior Foes of Spider-Man set, legal, and sets after that one.
Yeah, by the way, corporate Daniel
more
Powell.
Clear to players.
Yeah, corporate Daniel Powell certainly understands Silver Pulp better than what they're saying. Silver is an age, and then your subdivision is formats is, pulp, standard format, whatever. So,
Ooh, I really like that as calling it like Silver Standard as a way to explain, you mean the 400 points with the floor and all, and it's very specific ban list that doesn't apply to other variants.
Yeah. It's a data analytics thing.
Or just call it Rock Silver would work too.
Yeah,
because it is the floor and the 400 points that throws off the silver age part of it. It is why it's confusing. But either way, yeah, you're right. I can see why it is confusing.
So, by the way, Circuit Meta and Strange Tales. So Jason gave me some shit on yesterday, about how I was on the record of saying all of these one-shots from Strange Tales are going to make things frustrating.
Mm-hmm. You weren't even talking about just that. You were talking about that before we even knew those existed.
You tell me what my opinion was, Jason, just so I'm reminded.
I remember you whining about web swinging before we even saw those.
Yeah,
they're becoming a problem.
So,
and they are definitely stacking up to be too many.
Yeah, so I will typically agree with you all that the amount of one-shots is stacking up and getting to be a bit too much. But here's what I think about complaining at this point. So, Jason, it's not so much that my opinion on the one-shots has changed, it's my opinion on bitching and moaning has changed. It is that the one-shots are going to be here for Florida. The one-shots are going to be here for Adepticon. Just freaking make the best of it. understand that the meta going into Strange Tales, what was it, Az posted the Nico, Beetlejuice, Dark Hulk, Star Sapphire team. Yeah, which isn't that great, but it's like it has all these one-shots where you get to like evade stuff. Okay.
That's every team with Minority.
Yeah, focus on
Possibly.
What I want people to focus their energy on is it's not going to get banned or changed before you have to play against it. No matter how much maybe and the only things that typically get changed or banned or errated is if it's game mechanically breaking. Like infinite turns, something so wildly incompatible with the rules that it gets changed. A lot of times something isn't watch listed before it's played a little bit.
That part I'll agree with. I don't agree with unless it's breaking. I mean, we lost whatever that one shot was, Rivalry, because it wasn't game breaking. It was just...
Well, it was watch listed. It was played and then it was watch listed, right?
Right. So, yeah, your statement of, like, you're right, because, and this is part of the downside of Strange Tales not being legal for states, is we don't have all that data and to prove, oh, yeah, these one-shots are too strong. They're likely not to change anything before March or anything like that, because we don't have enough major tournaments to have these one-shots to show, yeah, they're overperforming. Like, there's too many one-shots.
So my whole point is in all of this is, unless you can prove that, let's say Nico Manura, right? And I really would just want to call her Nico Manura, because it's just easier for me to pronounce. So unless you can prove to me that some version of Nico Manura like breaks the game to where your opponent doesn't get to attack, they don't get to do anything, they just have to sit there. They don't ever get to make an attack roll.
It doesn't do that at all.
Right. So, to me, in that case, my point is in all of that is quit your bitching and play it. Either play the good shit with Nico Manure or play to beat it and show me on the map that it's good or bad, come Florida, come Adepticon. Because complaining about it doesn't get it fixed.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing with Beetlejuice.
Exactly. Put your money where your mouth is, Alex, and that's what you've done.
I mean, that's the only reason I'm really playing him is because he needs to overperform, so that way we can show he's way too good.
I mean, I still think that Main Force Beetlejuice isn't too good. I think it's really just more nobody's prepping to play against Main Force Beetlejuice because everybody just figures, well, you're going to play Sideline Beetlejuice, and I'm prepared for that with Chair Panther. And then when you show up with Main Force Juice, they're just like, oh, I never imagined it would get this far, and I wouldn't get free actions, and now I don't know what to do with my team.
I think it's 80% that, Anthony, and 20% people think we have this gentleman's code that we're not going to play Beetlejuice. That's how it feels right now. It's like we have this code. Like if you look at some of these states where like I think North Carolina, I don't think there was a single Beetlejuice besides Sideline. Like there's just this understanding of we're all tired of Beetlejuice. It's like the elephant in the room. Just ignore him, he'll go away unless he's on my sideline. You just gotta like Dan, your point about like don't argue or don't.
Yeah, I do wonder if any like podcasts or community members talking too heavily about him is kind of motivating a lot of people to believe like, oh yeah, there is the collective gentleman's agreement, so I don't really have to worry about seeing him because anybody who does that would just be so shamed and they won't do it. But then at the same time,
no one wants to see him.
DJ and Clix is actively shaming people who do play him. That's what that's their shtick now.
So
they actively do that.
Yeah, so I would say, as Clixed Off, the world's largest Heroclix podcast, we will not shame you for playing Main Force Beetlejuice. I want you to come forth and explain to me and anything how these game elements are game breaking and what your balance would be. So I don't want to hear a bunch of bitching. I want to hear a problem and solution statement.
So nobody should ever complain about anything.
No, that's not
Dan's
that,
point.
Nobody should.
So Jason,
yeah, that's what you're
quick.
saying.
No, Jason. I was about to make the same point. It isn't the complaining part. It's having a solution. Like it's the same thing as.
I don't have the solution. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have it. I don't know what it is. I don't have it.
Right, because it's the same kind of what we were talking about with Spot, right? Like you get rid of Beetlejuice, which he needs to go away. There are issues with Spot or some other crazy too strong free things. Yeah, so like on my watch list, for example, I would want to take care of Chair Panther, but I would also want to take care of one shots.
Yeah,
because Chair Panther is played all the time because one shots are getting insane. So one shot, if we get rid of Chair Panther, you got to do something to one shots.
Yeah. So if you look at
I still like my Jason and I's solution of requiring a theme team. But
yeah. So let's take a look at.
I feel like I don't like that solution because requiring a theme team to play one shots just feels like we're trying to reprint Heroes for Hire ATA, and then it's like, oh yeah, sure, technically everybody's playing a theme team. They're playing Ghost Rider and Brother Voodoo and Iron Fist, and then they're crossing the map and killing me on turn one, and that's so much better than if it was unthemed but still but then actually like a fair and balanced team.
Yeah, so Anthony, I would agree with that assessment, and here's what I would say to that is that my first versions of post-retirement Spirit of Vengeance were themed. They were mystical themed. And I pounded the wall trying to make theme team work because I wanted to go first reliably. But what I found out was I couldn't. It just didn't work because I needed to play in the top 5 figures in the meta on the main force for Rock States. I had to play Per Degaton, Black Panther, and Phoenix Pog. They were just insanely too versatile not to break theme. Mainly Per Degaton and Black Panther.
Well, and the other thing with that, Daniel, is that like when you're looking at going first or having that +3 for theme, if you've got all these one shots to make it where if your opponent goes first, it's not that big of a deal, then why do I need to have a theme to make sure I get that +3? Because I don't care if I go second nowadays because one, that they usually aren't alphaing me because I probably have Fortify, web crawling, like I've got all the upper body now. I have all these ways to be like, yeah, your alpha's probably not going to kill everybody like it used to. So why even bother playing theme? Like, +3 doesn't matter.
Can't even win when I play theme. I can't even win the roll when I play theme. So
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we pushed the theme idea is because no one is playing theme unless it's a very unique, like X-Men or something that has some very unique mechanic with it. There's very little incentive to play theme right now. So if you tie one shots to that and say, well, you have to have some sort of theme team to play one shots, that kind of kills two birds with one stone. Because that means you won't have all of the... Yeah, but I've been thinking about it and vetting it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't think it's a bad idea. Like,
that was just...
So is your proposal just very simple? All one-shots have... If your team is themed, you can include this in your sideline, and it's no more specific than that? Or is it like, oh, to get the Darkhold ones, it's got to be mystical theme. In order to get the spell one-shots, it's got to be, I don't know, scientist theme or something arbitrary.
No, because that would have been a design thing. Like, if they want to design future one-shots to be that way, that's fine. A simple blanket of one-shots, just got to be a theme team. Any theme team doesn't matter. It needs to be a theme team. because then you won't have necessarily all the Chair Panthers anyway. If you want Chair Panther, you got to build a theme team to play your own one-shots. I don't get to just take away your one-shots because I'm paying 25 points for a Chair Panther. And then you'll probably see Degaton's usage go down because he's just so undercosted and so good.
I mean, my worry is in that world, then you just see a huge rise in the theme teams of the keywords that are printed on Black Panther, because you're going to be playing Black Panther, so now you are only looking at those themes. Or you're going to see theme teams of the keywords that are printed on Per Digaton, because everybody's still playing Per Digaton.
That's okay then, because they're then not necessarily playing the best, like, they're not playing just all the best figures on one team and having no negative aspect.
Or you're playing the figures that the keywords of the figures that allow the free one shots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it won't be that big of an impact to where, like, I think it's just two birds, one stone is how I look at it. Because I mean, WizKids at Worlds acknowledged there's an issue with theme teams. Like,
and I trust that they're going to do something in this year 2026 to help get it back to what they wanted, where more teams are themed. I guess a good question, though, is what percentage of teams should be themed? Like in the general field, in the top cut, in the top whatever number you want to also say. What's the right percentage? Is it half? Is it a third? Is it 3/4?
Like, how would you even know?
I feel like 60% would make more. I feel like it used to be that good. It used to be much higher, and if someone was
well, you can't count 2024 Worlds.
A little weird.
You can't count 2024 Worlds because that was Scott Porter skewed. Where I think 100% of top cut or like top 16 may have been themed. Something absurd like that. So I don't know what the percentage is, and that ties in perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and read a question here. Mr. Elo himself, Bill De Rocher. Distribution of theme team post cut so far in 300 Modern. Its first place has been 18%, top 4 is 31%, top 8 is 30%. And I think realistically, that feels pretty darn good.
For it to be 30%?
30% in top 8. That's I don't know if I would say. I mean, 50% is either 50% is if you want to make top 8, either your team is theme or not. Right. So if 50% of
I was kind of feeling like 50% is where I want to see the number, because then it's like unthemed is still playable. You can still do well with it, but themed is also playable, and you could do well with it.
Yeah, so
it doesn't feel like any one thing is what you're playing every game.
Yeah, I'd like to see also, and I'll do some digging on that as well, what themes we're looking at. I'm willing to bet a majority, if not all of them, are Avengers or X-Men. Probably. Because the Avengers have the cap that just give past Avengers, and like that's still really strong. And then X-Men with Rogue and Abscissa and Morph and whatnot. I know there's like a variant of that. So I'm willing to bet a majority of them are because you have some of that keyword cheating, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like it's not an like a widespread. Oh, there's a mystical team. There's this team. I think it's heavily skewed to like 1, 2, 3 different keywords.
So I guess that's actually another good follow-up point. Do you view teams that are only a theme team because they keyword cheated any differently than teams that were a theme team because all the characters actually legitimately had those keywords printed? Or do you view those like equally the same?
Because they're having to pay points, even if it's only 25 points. They are having to pay points on most teams to do the keyword cheating. Like even in silver for like Doom the Annihilating Conqueror, right? That's the keyword cheating one. You're paying 75 points, and then giving up silent space for the other Doom. So you're paying for it. That's fine. And I also don't have a difference between named or generic keywords. Like none of that matters to me really at this point. I'm just looking at no one's playing themed because, like Daniel's saying, if I'm looking at a team and I'm staring at 25-point Scarlet Witch, like the really good support one. But then I'm looking at Degaton. It's like, Degaton is just, like, what he does is better. I rather sacrifice Theme at this point to play Degaton because of what he.
So, like, for you, it's equally as thematic when people show up with that super great named keyword Araco of Genesis, APOC, Scott Porter, X-Men, Professor X. Well, I guess now it's been restricted list out, but Sky Tyrant, Carnage Silver Surfer, Colossus, all of those pieces.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like, oh yeah, that
Anthony,
one's super themey.
To me, like, it feels like nobody's ever going to be happy with anything.
That's fair.
Ever. So, like, you could show up. I'm going to give you a theoretical, Anthony, about how people will never be happy. Is you could show up with a team from a comic book cover. Let's say there's 5 characters on a comic book cover. But let's say there's a Wasp that isn't 25 points, that is the same outfit as that comic book cover. You will have people complain. Let's say you won Worlds with that, the biggest event of the year. They will say, well, that wasn't fucking comic accurate because the Wasp wasn't in her blue outfit, she was in her red outfit.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I played.
It's just some of this stuff is like absurd. It's like within the rules, it's a theme team or it's not a theme team. And does that make people happy?
Because repainted the figure.
I played the 300 points of Citizens of or the City of Villains, the ones from that LE like video game pack where you get Ghost Widow and Captain Mako, who's Ghost Widow's amazing, Captain Widow, Mako's okay, and then like the Black Scorpion and Lord Recluse that are just utter garbage. And I had one opponent tell me like, well, your team is so cheesy and overpowered because you're playing Ghost Widow, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm playing 246 points of garbage.
Yeah. Like I would just rather them do something like this to one shots than to start errataing each one differently, like Fortify or Halt Mutant or something like that, or just ban them. It's just like, no, I mean, maybe we need to look at, they are undercosted, maybe they're too strong.
Well, so
instead of just changing them, limit it a bit. 2 birds.
So Alex, I wanna just talk a little bit about it's always a compounding effect, and a lot of people don't look at the compounding effect.
Mm-hmm.
They look at it individually. They look at it individually, and that is if you affect Black Panther, the one shots become a bigger deal, right? So then you start looking at individual one shots, and that's a problem. Well, then if you make the one shots a non-issue, then you look at, well, going first is a big deal, and you can't survive an alpha if you go second. Well, then you start looking at, more obstinate maps and how those get played. And, the rise of, I would say the increase of Major Brock's Bunker even beyond what is being played. And then you say, well, we got to fix the maps. We've got to fix going first. It's a continual cycle. Like, the game is not perfect at the end of the day. Yeah. It's made by, and I understand what I'm talking about, but I want to talk about, here's what I want our viewers to think about is there's just a continual cycle of things not ever perfect in the game. And instead of constantly complaining about things that aren't game breaking, just circle back to just playing it. Playing what's good, playing the counter to what's good, and just enjoying the game. Because guess what? I guarantee you, whatever comes out in Venom, there'll be something for us to bitch about for a half an hour on the episode then at some point, too. It's been that way for a decade I've done the podcast.
Yep.
I can't remember a time where people didn't complain about the meta.
Yeah. So just enjoy it, embrace it, and, propose, I want folks to be problem, statement, and solution oriented whenever they come up with a complaint. And you know what? Yes, that is corporate America Daniel. That is CDP, corporate Daniel Powell, speaking, because we're at a point where we have a lot of eyes on the community, more so than we've ever had. Be solution oriented when you come up with a problem. Otherwise, it's just noise to me. So, I take a look at all of these one-shots, by the way, from Strange Tales, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. But, you know what? It's a lot of fun in that if they are as bad as people would lead us to believe, that everybody's going to be playing them, and guess what? You just get to slug it out. So, like, here's what it should encourage. If Shield of the Seraphim, Image of the Icon, Crimson Bands of the Sidorak, Web Swinging, Spectral Armor, Resolve of the Green, Halt Mutant, Fortify are as all bad as I've been led to believe, then everybody should be playing all 9 of them, all 8 of them on their force, and that everybody should just...
For sure.
With Nico, you can.
You can with Nico. You could.
You can with Nico. And by the way, Jason, is your audio working? Jason's audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear
so,
me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
so
I'm just listening. I'm just
okay,
listening.
So if they're all as bad as I've been led to believe, then guess what? There should be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 turn games be happening. Because everybody should be able to say, attack, Spectral Armor, attack, Fortify, attack, Crimson Bands, right? And then everybody should just be doing that. People should be hurrying the frig up and getting their shit done on their turns, and we should be able to see turn count go up.
What?
We should be able to...
What? Okay, wait. How does the one-shots being on the sideline make the gameplay faster?
Because you should be able to say, okay, I want to attack your piece with web swinging. Are you flipping web swinging? Yes or no? Okay, I'm flipping it.
There's no other considerations at all.
You should just be able to attack and go.
You can attack and go whether they exist or they don't exist.
You're talking about the one thing, balancing-wise, you can't control, and that's player playing speed.
Correct.
Yeah,
you can't control that at all.
I can't.
You're never gonna.
But here's the thing: if the sky
has nothing to do with that.
But here's the thing, Jason: if the sky is falling, because all of these one shots and this upper body is all so bad,
yeah,
then you should be playing faster yourself to get through them.
What?
To get through them, because you want to score more than 20 points, you better get your turns done faster so your opponent can get their turns done faster. And then you better be stepping on your opponent, standing on them, saying, who you attacking? What are you doing? Because they're going to be playing Beetlejuice, Dark Hulk, and Nico Manura. That's what I've been led to believe.
Can we just call her Nico?
Yeah, please, Nico.
Let's just call her Nico.
I'm already in with Nico Manura now. So
that's not her name at all.
Yeah, so your opponent should be able to just make a decision very quickly. They don't get to take free actions. They can charge.
You know what I'd like?
What's that?
I'd like to just show up and sit down at a table with my opponent and play a game and enjoy playing against each other.
I will. I enjoyed every game I played. All 6 rounds I played in Missouri, I enjoyed them.
I know you did. I didn't say you didn't.
I even played against the main force Beetlejuice.
I think you can play the game as is and have a good time, but also want the game to be better balanced.
Then
come
at me with a solution.
I did. I gave you the solution.
I love Alan, but I didn't enjoy playing him in top 8.
I know, you did.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, let's move along to some of our questions. We are running a little bit late. Alex does have to play in Georgia State's tomorrow. Let's answer some of our questions. Thomas James. I think we did talk about Legacy Galactus a little bit earlier. Why don't we see more of Green? Basically, his question is why do we not see more of Green Scar? Can you say it fast enough, Jason?
Green Scar?
Yeah.
Green Scar?
Why don't we see more of him?
Why.
Tell me why.
He takes free actions to do his thing.
Yeah.
Lucas Van Hollen played him in Modern.
Yeah, why was Lucas so successful? Was it because he played in Wisconsin?
Well, where's Beetlejuice? I don't know.
Why? So was he so successful?
Lucas is a very good player. He's a very good player for one thing.
Well, so let me ask you this: was Lucas so successful with Beetlejuice because he played at the Degen Clix local venue? Who outwardly shamed?
He plays Green Scar.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But was he so successful with it because he played at the Degen Clix venue where they publicly shame people for playing Beetlejuice and make them feel so bad about making a game choice and playing a legal game element that they decided to just not play it at their local venue there at Wisconsin or another? That Lucas had had a microcosm of success there.
Green Scar is fine. He falls into the same microcosm as Starter Superman that I tried to play with. When it goes well and you hit things and everything lines up, it's amazing. You could beat any team. But if you whiff or they hit a certain rollout that you didn't need them to roll out, it crashes a little bit. Like it's just a similar thing when you put all of your points most of your points into one piece or two pieces. If that piece doesn't succeed or gets taken out, then it's not easy to pilot. It's not easy to pilot, and things can go wrong very quickly. But when it goes right really, really well.
And it's a gimmick that depends on a certain thing, and if you can't do it, then you're not going to do so great.
By the way,
yeah, it's just like Starter Hulk from TMT, right?
By the way, did you all order your Sleeping Nick Ballou shirt yet from Degen Clix?
Oh, I need to do that. Yeah, I haven't done that.
Yeah, so I did order mine. I'm really excited for it to get here. By the way, the shirts that those guys make are hilarious. By the way, I took the picture of Nick sleeping, and that's how that got started. And I'm
nice.
I apologize to Nick.
Truck, wasn't it?
It was in your SUV. It was on the way. It was on the way to Adepticon It was on the way to Adepticon in 24, and Nick was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was there too.
So I shared that picture.
I was thinking of the wrong road trip.
Yeah, I mistakenly shared that picture with Miles, and he has not let Nick live that down yet. All right, so figure-wise, Stephen Clark Jr. asked, what do you think will be the MVP of Strange Tales figure-wise? I think we've talked about the one-shots at length between a few episodes, but let's talk figure-wise. Give me your top figure out of Strange Tales, Anthony. I want to hear what you say.
I really am interested to see Tony Stark, Sorcerer Supreme, perform. I think he will do some things that could be really interesting, and I think if people play him, he will perform well.
I like that. Which part of him do you think is the most powerful? Out of, I think he does 3 unique things. What do you think is the most powerful out of the 3?
I think the way he's going to punish the single D6 rolls, where it'll maybe make people think twice about, is it worth it to try for this shape change right here?
Yep. I think that's probably the most powerful out of him.
That's a deep power.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Jason?
Counting legacy figures or just the main set?
All of them. Just don't take. If you say Tri-Sentinel, that's not very original, Jason.
Jason, take it. Take Tri-Sentinel.
Just take Tri-Sentinel. Get it. Just take it and get it over with.
Did you want to take that?
No, I'm not. My answer is not Tri-Sentinel.
He'll take Dormammu. It's fine.
It's not Dormammu either.
Oh yeah, Dormammu.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna pick Nico Manure.
Yeah.
Yes, I gotta say it.
Nico's really good.
It's not Nico either.
It's going to be really good.
It's not Nico either. To be clear, it's not Nico either. To be clear.
I'm excited to hear his choice now.
I would like to think it was going to be like one of the Hydra pieces or something, like Baron von Strucker Prime or something. But
so what's your choice?
No, Alex, you go first. You get to pick yours. I don't want you to take mine. You go ahead.
You just said Jason.
No, I said Jason. Oh, sorry. I thought Jason. Jason said Tri-Sentinel, basically. Are you going with Tri-Sentinel, Jason?
Sure. Why not?
All right. What are you going with, Alex?
Eternity.
Eternity. I like that
one.
Ooh,
fun choice.
That's a good choice.
Eternity, 50 points, 12 range, shoots through everything. It's going to be pretty stupid. Put that guy in the Colosseum and have a good day. Because even if they knock him out, he's still 50 points. So,
do you know what's better than Eternity's 12 range, Alex?
What?
Eternity with a 15 range. Which leads to my favorite piece and my favorite team ability of all time is the Wand Agent. Adjacent friendly characters. Adjacent friendly characters with the mystical keyword have the shield team ability, and he also has the shield team ability for your wild cards to take as well. It is a passive +1 to range. It is a passive perplex that you can just get a +3 of for him just existing, and he's only 15 points if he goes away. Which means that he's probably been body blocked by a bunch of other mystical pieces. So if they go hard and go kill the Wand Agent, you probably don't need the Shield TA anymore anyways. So I love the Shield team ability. One of my favorite team abilities, if not my most favorite. Besides the obvious of like Cosmic Energy stops the outwit, right? Like, okay, that's
boosting Tri-Sentinels. Yeah.
They boost Tri-Sentinels. It boosts everything. It boosts Dormammu.
But your team's got Tri-Sentinels on it. That's don't lie.
It does. It's fine.
But
but that isn't the most fun part of the team.
The Wand Agent helps. The Wand Agent helps bring that all together.
Yeah, it ties a nice bow on it, right? Yeah.
It does what? Sorry, what'd you say?
He puts a nice bow on it.
It does, and you know what? It's like what's cake without icing on it? Like, who wants cake without some nice icing on it?
Pound cake.
Got my son. He doesn't like icing.
Oh gosh.
He likes the cake.
All right, let's wrap up some of these questions.
I'm just telling you.
I know, it's fine. We talked about Bill's question, and then one last question from Noah Johnson. What do you think? Which piece do you think is a sleeper, and which piece do you think is overhyped?
Is he talking about Strange Tales or other things?
In general, let's talk about going into Strange Tales meta. What piece do you think is a sleeper? And overhyped. So, Anthony, do you have a sleeper piece and an overhyped piece? I think your Tony Stark was a pretty good sleeper piece.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Nico is the one that's overhyped. I feel like everybody's going to want to talk about building with her and be super excited for all the theory crafting with her. I don't think as many Nikos are going to hit the table as people are talking about, or if they do, it's going to be one event that she hits the table, and then everybody's going to be like, okay, I'm done with her now.
Fair enough. Alex, overhyped piece, sleeper piece.
My sleeper is still going to be Eternity. I still don't think people are building enough with him. I think Dormammu is overhyped.
Ooh.
I don't like Dormammu at all. But I
think you might be right too.
I think people are like, oh, that rolling 3 dice thing, but it's like if you're not doing it on Dormammu, like if you're trying to do his whole giving that trait to someone else, that's going to backfire. I don't think top players are going to take that risk by putting that on somebody else.
You know what though, Alex?
3/5s.
I will say what it is only a problem at 3/5s or higher for the most part. But you know what he helps enable? Yeah. KOing your own piece.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Jason, overhyped and sleeper? Or Jay, what's your you said a sleeper and overhyped. All right, Jason, what's your sleeper and overhyped?
I'm going to say sleeper. I'm going to say Jericho Drum, Sorcerer Supreme. I don't know. He does some weird stuff, and I feel like you can do some crazy things with him, maybe, but
all right.
Nobody's
overhyped.
Looking at him hard. Sentinel.
You think overhyped is Tri-Sentinel? Why do you think he's overhyped?
He was your best, he was your figure that you thought was the best out of the set.
Yeah, he can be overhyped too, though.
Okay.
I think he's overhyped because nobody's going to be able to get his card.
Yeah, nobody's going to be able to play him because he can't get his card.
I have
exactly right. Yeah.
I have pulled one Tri-Sentinel card. I have also spent $230 on 2 more Tri-Sentinel cards, which is not a
total.
A total.
Okay.
I had an eBay coupon for $50, and I sold a Dark Phoenix on eBay, the MOE one, the Chase. So it was kind of like I didn't spend any money really because I got rid of a duplicate. And then I bought one from Ken Small earlier this week. So my sleeper piece, I really liked all y'all sleepers pieces from Strange Tales so far. Those are really good ones. I think my sleeper piece is still going to be Prime Dormammu. He's a really good sleeper piece. I think my overhyped is one that I am still overhyping myself. And I'm really surprised that neither one of y'all three took it. Loki, Sorcerer Supreme, I think is overhyped.
I think you're probably right.
I think most everybody is going.
I've heard a lot of people crapping on him.
Well, I think that what he does is so powerful, but nobody's going to want to be able to consistently take the time to build him to efficiency.
Yeah.
He is difficult to use.
Yeah. So let's wrap up today's episode. Let's run through some final thoughts as well. I think the sleeper and overhype was a pretty good final thought, but Anthony, you can include in your final thoughts anything you wanted to include about Champion Clix as well as we wrap up today's episode. So final thoughts plus your plug for Champion Clix.
Yeah, I mean, my final thoughts is I think Dan had an amazing point about the weighing different people have different negative play experiences and arguing that one piece is horrible because it's your negative play experience doesn't mean that opinion is more valid than somebody else who says that is the piece that prevents me from having my negative play experience, and letting everybody kind of be able to enjoy the game differently in their own way and play the game that they have fun playing. And then, with Champion Clix open, I'm super excited for the IC regionals that are going to be starting soon after States ends, so that way we get constant, nonstop competitive play. It's going to be a different format than what people are used to seeing and not worth talking about too much yet, because a lot of conjecture at this point, so it's fair. But I'm getting ready for that. And then CCO main event, I think, is going to be a blast for everyone. I think it's one of the best events of Heroclix every year, one of the 3 largest every year for sure. It competes with Heroclix for Huntington's and Worlds in terms of player attendance. And I think it's going to have some amazing, exciting prizes. We saw 2 debut LEs. We saw a debut purchasable. Nobody other than WizKids themselves have done purchasables at an event before, so that's a very cool, exciting twist. And who knows what else we're going to see. So I cannot recommend enough. People should really check that out. And I use it as a vacation to go to Florida and have a good time at Disney afterwards.
Yeah, Anthony, right before you were joining, while we were waiting for you to join, Alex and I were discussing the logistics to get to Florida. I would say if you're struggling with your logistics to get to Florida for Champion Clix Open, make sure that you're not exhausting all of your options from like Google Flights, instructing yourself on how to fly better or drive, depending on your relation geographically to Florida. Flying is relatively easy these days. You might have to become a little bit creative on flying. Like, I think my plan to get to Florida logistically is fly out of one airport and then have my wife and son pick me up at another airport when I fly back in. Is that accomplishable for everybody? No. But if you think about what you can do there and, leveraging your friends and family for some inventiveness there, maybe you can make Florida as well. So, Google Flights.
And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, Google Flights is a big deal to check out all the different airlines. Remember, some airlines are regional. Double check all your local airports and see where they fly to direct. Flying down on one airline and flying back on another is an option. If you spend more than just 2 minutes of looking at certain things, you can maybe just get a little inventiveness on travel. And being a savvy traveler is also helps you out in other parts of life, because you might want to travel to other places than Florida at some point in your life. So. Was there anything else you wanted to add there, Anthony?
No, I think that's a brilliant idea you had about being creative, and maybe even talk about on the Clixed Off page about, like, hey, does anybody have advice on how to help get to Florida? This is understand their situation and talk it through together as a community.
Yeah. Alex, final thoughts?
Just excited to play tomorrow. That's about it.
Best of luck.
It's almost today, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Jason, final thoughts?
I'm all out of thoughts.
You're all out of thoughts? I don't take that to be true. What's your favorite B-dub sauce currently?
Orange chicken.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right. My
You
final
a boneless
thoughts.
wings or a bone-in wing?
Boneless wings.
Yeah.
But not as
Yeah.
2026 goal, by the way. We need to do the sauce tier maker, by the way. Not to rabbit hole us. So, final thoughts on my end and show wrap up. Good luck to everybody playing in the remainder of the states this weekend and next weekend. Looking forward to reviewing the rest of the results, putting a bow on states. Looking forward to the Silver Pulp format, restrictions and ban list and all that good stuff that we know is forthcoming. I'm looking forward to judging you all. We'll be having a IC regional this time? Is that the winter term?
Yep.
So we're looking forward to hosting our IC regional at Big Bang. Alex is looking forward to hosting an IC regional. He'll be playing, not hosting, down in Chattanooga at that's Game On Heroclix, right?
Yeah, Game On is the store.
Game On is the store down there. So it should be a really good time. Be sure to check out all the local events happening your way. Thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
Thank you.